Now let's talk about atomic physics. And first lesson is talking about what is inside every atom. Okay, so we know atoms are the building blocks of all matter in the universe or in life, and they are incredibly small. They have a very tiny dense nucleus which consists of the neutrons and protons, and there are some electrons that orbit around the nucleus. Yeah, so in this diagram we can see this is our nucleus where we have the neutrons and the protons, and then outside on the outer shells we have the electrons that orbit around the nucleus. Yeah, the nucleus contains almost all the mass of the atom, and it consists of very small but dense positively charged nuclei surrounded by the negatively charged electrons. Yeah, in terms of the mass, we know that the heaviest parts of the atom are in the nucleus, namely the protons and the neutrons. Yes, 1.67 10 to the power of negative 27 kg, and similarly the same for neutrons. However, electrons are much lighter, to the figure 9.11 10 to the power of negative 31. Now let's talk about the atomic model and particles. So we said in our atom we have the nucleus, which is in the center, and then we have the protons and the neutrons inside the nucleus, and we have subatomic particle, the electrons in the outer shells. Yeah. So now let's talk about what we call the protons, which is the number of protons inside the atom. Yeah, we can call it the proton number. And then the electrons are inside the atom where we have a neutral atom. The number of protons and electrons will be equal, or the number of negative electrons and positive protons will be equal. And then when we talk about neutrons, the number of neutrons can be found by subtracting the number of protons from the nucleon number. Yeah. So when we refer to the term nucleon, we are mainly trying to describe the main particle, which is the nucleus, and the particles inside the nucleus, protons and neutrons. Yeah. So the nucleon represent protons and neutrons together. However, the term nucleate is referring to the nucleus with a specific combination of protons and neutrons. Let's talk about the atomic mass. So we said there is an atomic mass and atomic number for every atom, and the atomic mass is the combination of the proton number plus the neutron number. Yeah. So if we have the top number here, which we call it m, that would be our atomic mass, which is with the sum of the protons plus the neutrons. Yeah. And then if we talk about the nucleon number, we can say it's the same thing. It's the total number of protons and neutrons in one nucleus. Yeah. However, let's talk about the number at the bottom, number A, representing the proton number or the atomic number. So the atomic number is just the sum of all the number of protons in the nucleus. Yeah. In chemistry, the nucleon number is referring to the mass number of the atom, and the proton number as the atomic number. Yeah. In a periodic table, if we look at the periodic table, it's been arranged or ordered by the atomic number, so the atomic number of every atom. Yeah, and then the lighter elements are present at the top here of the table, and then they get heavier as we go down. And now we need to also discuss what are the isotopes. So we have here two diagrams representing hydrogen and carbon isotopes. So what are these isotopes? Isotopes are atoms, so we know what is an atom by now, of the same element, and they have the equal number of protons. However, they have a different number of neutrons. So in these two diagrams, the hydrogen isotopes, they share the same number of protons in their center, so they all have one proton in their center. However, the number of neutrons is increasing, starting with 0 here, 0 neutrons, and then 1, and then 2 at tritium. Yeah. Now this means that each element can have more than one isotope, as you can see in the figure here, and then these isotopes tend to be more unstable due to the imbalance between the proton and the neutron numbers. Yeah, and then they will most likely undergo decay to be more stable and be balanced in a balanced state.